Hey guys, doing this is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, also best-selling art instructor at Udemy, and the best-selling author of How to Draw Awesome Figures on Amazon, both in paperback and Kindle. And also now, me and my girlfriend have a novel out called Bending Nature, a new kind of vampire novel. So if you're really into vampires or different novels, definitely check that one out. Right, so let's get started now. I'm going to be showing you guys how to draw a face using different techniques. For those wondering what kind of pencil I'm using, it's called a clutch pencil. If you're wondering about all the stuff I draw with, on my website masterpaintingnow.com, at the top there, just click on My Art Supplies and it shows you different stuff and where to get it. Really quickly here, before we get started, here's some quick gesture drawings I've been doing for my new gesture course. My gesture drawing course, how to draw gesture drawings. Some of these are done in 30 seconds like this one. Other ones are done in 90 seconds. Got some more here. This one here was like this, and then after the image had disappeared, I went ahead and finished it up. You can check out on Google Play, has like 70 pictures of my girlfriend in different poses for particular poses for practicing and learning the hymn and figure for gesture drawing. They're really great for gesture drawing, and it's called Gesture Master on Google Play. That's what I've been using. All right, so let's get started with drawing a face. How do you start drawing a face? Well, there's all different kinds of ways to do it. Once you know the proportions of everything, how far everything should be away from each other, you can actually draw a face starting from the eye. Let me just show you a quick example. And then after I show this example, I'll show you the quick measurements and stuff and how you can kind of figure that out. So I can start with drawing the left eye, let's say, for example. And I know it's going to be a little bit foreshortened because it's going to be a 3/4 head on that side of the head. I know they're going to be an eye length apart, and I'm going to have the other eye over here. There may be a slight angle just because of perspective. I'll explain that in a little bit. Make sure each eye is approximately the same size. This one's going to be a little bit bigger, only because it's not being blocked by the nose. The eyebrow comes up here, and the nose is going to come down, and it's going to block part of the eye. And then once you know about how big the nose should be, you can put in that basic shape in there. Then you know where your eyebrows should be. Go ahead and knock those out. Now from here, I know that the distance from the nose to the lip, once you have a feeling for that subconsciously, then you don't have to measure anymore. But I'm going to show you guys the measurements in just a second. Just going to show you just a quick sketch here how you can get a face. I know this is going to pretty much follow the same angle as the nose. This first cheek line here. Then it's going to curve down. It's not going to get too far away from the mouth. And it's going to kind of curve in sometimes, and you're going to have your chin down here. And then you're going to have a good amount of spacing between your eyes, even 3/4 view. You can see in part of the side view. So another couple eye views over here, like another couple eye lengths. I could do about 2 eye lengths. I know that's about, my ear is going to come off of that area over there. So I know that the bottom of the ear is about, the eyebrows is the top of the ear, and the bottom of the ear is about the bottom of the nose. And a slight angle because we're going back in perspective. I'll explain all that in a second. The jaw needs to come down and then start to curve in like this. And then we have the top of the head here. The forehead kind of slants back. Then you can do your hairline however you want and do your hair however you want. So that's the basic outline of the face. And then, I could have actually drawn it by pen even without having to erase anything, and went right into what I wanted it to be. This is very quickly, let's just add a little bit of personality to this face here. And then I'll show you guys, with the more measured approach, how you guys can do this. And I'll explain everything step by step. I just want to show you that you can actually get, once you have, what's the importance. Basically, I'm showing you what is the importance of being able to draw with the, understanding the measurements and all that kind of stuff. So that is the knowledge part. A lot of people, they want to skip that part because it's, it's kind of boring to learn all the measurements and stuff. But if you don't know the measurements, then you can't just do what I just did right here from your mind without looking at anything. It's just, this is all just purely from imagination. And how do you do that is you understand the measurements and everything. Once you understand the measurements of what it is you're drawing, I'm going to give her slightly bigger cartoon eyes. Then you can like intuitively know. I'm not spending a lot of time on this. I'm just doing very almost like a scribble type sketch that just gives some personality. Let's give her eyebrows that kind of come up here like this and then come down like that. Right, just very basic, like I said. Make her mouth open just a little bit if you want, and kind of maybe biting her lip a little bit there. Right, so that's just very quickly here. So notice that I started with one eye, did the other eye, put the nose in there. Gave her kind of a larger nose. I can easily change the nose. This kind of gives her, I think, a little bit of ethnicity. But not that, you know, all that's I'm gonna get crap for that. I already know it. Whatever. For those that know what I'm talking about, know what I'm talking about. Not, you know, not that every ethnic has larger noses or something like that. But anyway, so or that, you know, or that non-ethnics don't have larger noses, because they do. But anyway, so you guys hopefully understand what I'm trying to say. I was able to do that very quickly because I know the measurements of the face. So now let's go ahead and learn the measurements of the face. We'll do a kind of a cool different way of doing it than what I usually teach it as. And then you'll be able to do this kind of stuff from your head without having to really think at all. It just kind of becomes subconscious. And notice how fast I was able to draw that without any thinking at all. Just able to do it and get that 3/4 view there. Right, so let's go and throw that to the side real quick. Sometimes I like getting really close to the microphone and sound like some cool, you know, like DJ radio voice guy. Yeah. All right, so first thing you want to do is start out with a circle shape. Hopefully you guys can see this. Now, if this is hard to see, make sure you're in full screen. That's very important whenever watching a YouTube video with drawing. Make sure you're in full screen, and make sure you're at least at like the 480p. I think that's one of the options. Most likely have it on auto, but if your internet can handle it, try to bump up to like 720p. It makes it much easier to see all the lines and everything. The next thing is, don't divide it in half, right? Divide it like in the quarters. So imagine it's in 4 different pieces, and I like to just draw a line coming straight down at a slight angle like this. How far that line down goes, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you don't want to go like go way down here, but we're not going to go. I just go like that and put a line down, because we're not going to be using. I'll show you how I get the measurements in a second. The next thing I like to do is kind of like take it. Imagine that this is a flat ball that has a flat side on this side over here and a flat side on this side. So imagine I have a sphere, right? I have a ball, and I cut off a slice here and a slice here, and to where it kind of has this kind of shape to it right here. So that's all flat, and the other side over here is all flat as well. That's the kind of shape I imagine when I'm drawing the head. It's a really good, easy 3-dimensional shape. I wish I had like I should have bought a foam ball and like cut off each side to show you, but imagine you have a sphere right here. That's your sphere. And you cut it off right here and you cut off right there. And that's the shape you're left with. And imagine that in 3 dimensions. And so when you view it from the 3/4 view, you can view part of it right here. You kind of divide that in half. Now I like to use this halfway division point right here of the sphere. And that's going to be where my upper eyebrows might be. And then I'm going to draw my nose. My nose is going to fall right on line with this line right here. So that's how big the nose is. That's the main part I think people mistake. I just kind of put a triangle shape in there like that, just for the basic shape of the nose. This is the part I think people they get confused the most on, is the nose can sometimes feel like it's a lot bigger than it actually is, but it's really not. So that's where the eyebrow line is going to be. I'm just going to kind of put in some basic marks there for a second. The next part is you have, well, how many eyes wide is a face? Well, the first thing is there's 2 different kinds. There's the face that has 5 eyes wide and the face that has like 4 eyes wide. And this is true for different people. So if you imagine over here, you have a front view of your face, right? Let's say right here, is a front view of the face. Divide it in half like you normally do. You have an eye in the middle, an eye on the side here, and then a half eye and a half eye. That's the typical 4-eye person, and there are some people that have the 4-eye. Now the ear's gonna be outside at this point. I'm not including the ear. The other person has a head that's a little bit wider, and that's a 5-eye wide. That person can have a full eye length out here like that and like that. Doesn't change it much. I like to use the 4 eyes for females typically, and the 5 eyes for men if I'm going to use 5 eyes. Because that give them that wider jaw. Right, so that's that. Now once you have that figured out, then you just do the same thing, and you imagine that you have one eye length here, and you can almost see the whole eye length. It kind of comes, and it's kind of being blocked by the nose a little bit. So you have to think about perspective when you're drawing in 3-point perspective and how some things overlap others. So as you begin to turn the head, the nose sticks out away from the head. So remember, from the side view, the face kind of looks like this, comes down, the nose comes out like that. Then you have your lips here. Right, so that's the basic side view. So the nose actually sticks out farther than the eye. And because of that, when you start to turn the head sideways, it starts to cover your eye a little bit. And I actually drew that eye a little bit too high. So I'm going to follow this line right here. Now this is where you get into perspective. So I know a lot of people don't like to think about perspective. So an easy way to think about it, rather than doing a whole bunch of perspective, is just imagine that you have, let's say the lips is where the main horizon line is. So then just imagine that's a straight line. And everything else is going to be on a slight angle going back towards this point right here. That is, all the eyes right here are on a line that's going back into the horizon. And they're eventually going to land on this horizon line. So this straight line and that curved line are eventually going to land over there somewhere. But all you have to do is imagine is that you have your lips on a straight line, your nose is going to be on a slight angle, and your eyes are going to be on a slight angled line too. This will give you a nice proper look. And then your chin is going to be on a slight angle, but the opposite way, because it's below the horizon line, so just a slight angle like that. We'll get into the measurement of that in a second. So let's go ahead and draw our eye back in here again. For now, I like using this kind of basic shape like this. Boom. All right, so kind of a big eye, but I'm gonna kind of come right about here. I'm gonna cut it off like that, so I don't want the eye to be too big. Now what happens is, as the person begins to turn toward the side here, what you have is that you have the eyeball. So let's imagine the eyeball over here for a second. When you look at the eyeball from the side view, remember the eyeball is a sphere. So a sphere like this is fitting inside your eye socket. You have skin that's growing over this, right here and here. This is your, it wraps around like that. So that's why you have the eyelashes coming all around like that. Same thing here, it's wrapping around the eyeball. You have that piece of skin there. You have your eyebrow up there. The eye then has this kind of shape right here, and then this will be, when you're viewing it from the side view like that, and that'll be the pupil, right? So that's how it looks like from the side view, because it's a sphere inside of skin, right? And then from the front view, you have this sphere here. You have your eyeball that fits on. This is the whole eyeball. This would be part of your iris and retina. Like that, right? And then you have the skin that goes over your eye. Right? And then you have the part where your eyelid goes into, and you have your eyebrow and all that. But you imagine, if you remember, and this is right here how you get the little bit of pink right here in the eye, because that's no longer the eyeball. It's actually the part that holds the eyeball in. And then that's why you have this part right here that kind of sticks out, your under part of your eye, and your upper lid, that kind of, all this kind of sticks out a little bit, because there's a sphere underneath the skin there, and it's wrapping around and pushing out the sphere. That's why from the side view it's like that. So from the 3/4 view, as the eye begins to turn, you're seeing part of that roundness right here. And then you're seeing part of the eyelid coming out like that, and then coming around like this. Right, so that's something important to memorize. It's almost like a mix between the side view and the front view. Make sure to draw a whole entire, this is where people really get confused and they mess up. Make sure to draw however big the eye is. If you're going to have 4 eyes or 5 lengths across the front view, then basically when you turn to 3/4 view, you're seeing this part and this part and then some of this part over here. But you have the 3 eyes. So from here, here, and here, make sure they're exactly 3 eyes in this front plane before you get to this part here. So just divide this into 3 equal parts. You have, well, pretty much 3 equal parts like that. This part here is going to be a little bit longer than this one because that one's being foreshortened. Right, so those are the 3 parts you're dividing your eyes into. it's really important because if you don't do that, your shit ain't gonna look right. Right, so I'm gonna start erasing some of the stuff here. All right, now let's go ahead and draw the eye here. Make sure to start from this point. I'm gonna kind of do, I like doing this shape right here. It's almost like an L, but not quite, kind of like a bent bar. I don't know how to describe the shape. And then come down like this, and then come across like that. That's a basic shape I like to draw for eyes. For comic characters, I think it looks really cool. Then you can draw the flap of skin if you want. And then the eyebrow extends past the actual part of the eye here and here on each side. So the eyebrow's a little bit bigger. I'm going to just give some shape like that to the eyebrow for now. Right, there you go. Notice that I kept it on this line. So if I do the bottom of the eye right here, and I do a line, notice that it's at a slight angle. The nose is at a slight angle, the mouth isn't, and the chin's will be at a slight angle, because it's all going, basically the lips are going to be our point for the horizon line. Now, because you have this side view plane right here of the head, this is the side plane over here, everything's a little different. It's like a 2-point box. So imagine if you had a box, and here's the side of the box, and you're going back to horizon. This is the horizon line here. Then the top of the box, if you draw this thing, has to go back to horizon. Horizon has to go off to the off to the 2 points on the horizon line. These are the vanishing points. And so your box is going to be like that, right? Because we're not ever going to see the top of the box then, since both the bottom and the top of the box are extending beyond the horizon line. Now, if it were below or above the horizon line, we'd either see the bottom or the top of the box. So if we drew the box down here and then went off to the horizon line like this, we'd actually be seeing the top of the box. And then we'd have to draw back like that and like that, right? We'd be seeing that top plane of the box there. In this case, we're not seeing the top plane of the box, so we're not going to be seeing the top plane of her head either because horizon line's here. So you have to imagine that. So then, if that is true and the head is fitting into this box shape right here, right, and this is where the entire head, this is the front plane and this is the side plane, then all of this right here has to come down to the horizon line. So the side plane of this is like the middle line right here of the box. This all has to go down to this horizon line right here. That's the lips. So the ears and everything have to go down to the horizon line that's above the horizon line. So everything that's above. So since the entire ear is above the horizon line, and I like to do like at least another eye, if not 2 eyes before you get to the ear. And it comes down a little bit lower than what it normally be because the lines are coming down like this for the horizon line, everything over here. Hope that makes sense because it's on the side view. And you can actually, and that's actually still a little bit too high. And you can actually test this by looking at faces in 3/4 view. Just make sure they're proper 3/4 view, that you have the camera angle right. So the ear is actually more like that. So notice that it's kind of equal, but it's a little bit lower than each point, and then this is going to be a little bit higher than what the nose is. Next part, I just kind of like to draw the hairline in there. You can draw as big or as small as you want. Everyone has different hairlines, so there's no like guaranteed thing for it. And then just kind of draw the hair itself. Now notice a little bit at the top of the head there. We're seeing it going off into space, but not really seeing much of it. The hair, if it has body, it is going to stick out a little bit further than everything else. So far so good. This part is pretty easy. And then from here, the measurements you have to do is go, okay, we know now that from the front view, the eyes are, you have either 5 eyes or 4 eyes. So that front plane here has 3 eyes in it. And then the other parts either have 2 eyes or a half eye. And so in this case, I went with half eye, then a full eye length before I got to the ear. And that's the side plane that I'm seeing. I know then the cheekbone has to come in this area right here, like that. So it's important to just kind of know like where your cheekbone has to be. And then how do you figure out the mouth and all that kind of stuff, and the nose? So the nose, if you're in the front view, the nose is going to come down about an eye, if you have the eye length already, an eye length and a half. And that's about where the nose is going to be, the bottom of the nose. So it's not very far. The triangle is almost a perfect triangle. And if you follow that circle method I showed you and then cut that in half, and that halfway part was where your eyebrows went, and your eyes went below that, then you know that the nose is going to fall pretty much right on that circle line. Once you have that down, then you already know how far down the nose goes in 3/4 view. But just in case you don't, you can do a measurement like that. Just know that it's about an eye length. You have eye length there and about a half. So about an eye length and a half down. I like to come down like this and then kind of swoop up like this with my nose and kind of shape my nose like that. Have the little bit of the nostril and come up with this part right here, the flare. Now you can draw a nose however you want. There's so many different kinds of noses you can draw. We can actually have the nose come out more over here. It's up to you. I think I have a lesson on my YouTube channel. Just click on my name, which will take you to my channels, like the Learn to Draw. You click on the name and that'll take you to the channel's homepage, and then click on search, the little search icon. Looks like this, you know? Looks like a little magnifying glass, whatever. Click on that and then type in noses, and you should have a couple different tutorials where I show noses. The cheek typically comes down all the way before it starts turning, right at the point of the nose, and it follows the same line as the nose, and then it starts turning in. Now how far down we go is determining how big the mouth is and how wide it is, whether it's open, closed. Every head's a little different. What I do is I generally take the measurement from the front view for where the mouth is going to fit in like this, right? That's about the size of the mouth. And so if you start with a kind of just basic oval shape here, that'll get you where you need to go. But the important part is first, well, how long is the philtrum? The philtrum is that little indent right here that goes and, you know, that connects your lips to your nose. Imagine the shape of the lip too. It's important. The shape of the mouth is like a skateboard ramp. It kind of comes up like this, goes like that, and comes down, right? That's the shape of the mouth itself, and it also follows the same shape down here. In 3 dimensions, you'd imagine it kind of like this and coming down, right? So it has this like skateboard ramp. So I don't know if you've ever seen like those kinds of skateboard ramps, what I'm talking about there, but the kind that kind of go like this. You have that front plane right here, then you have this top plane, then you have that back plane like that. And that's like the basic skateboard ramp I'm talking about. If you imagine that kind of shape, that's how the mouth is. That's how the mouth sticks out. So the mouth has this 3-dimensional form to it. So basically, if you were to have a sphere right now, right, a basketball or something, and then you would take some clay, and you were to take this clay and kind of make it into a mound, like a slight hill, like this, you can see that it kind of stick out from the sphere a little bit. So you have the sphere coming out, and then you have this come out a little bit further, and that's where your lips are. It's really important to try to sculpt a face. And when you sculpt the face, you'll learn a lot of the 3-dimensionalities that are really important to understand when drawing the face. But so now we need to go down, I don't know, about a quarter of an eye length or so. Every philtrum's a little different. I like to go down about a quarter of an eye. And that's where that beginning of that skate ramp's going to fit in, like so. Now the way the lips look like from the 3/4 view is different than they look like from the front view. So from the front view, the lip is going to have this kind of curve. Every lip's a little different, but typical lips like this. And then you're going to have that middle piece right here. And then some people have it where it comes down like this. Has that little bend right there. And then they have the bottom lip. We'll just do like a curved bottom lip. There's all different kinds of shapes for lips. Some bottom lips have this kind of shape. Some of them have more of almost like a square shape. Some of them just have, you know, like this. All different kinds of shapes of lips. Now, what's important is this part right here. And then this part here. It's like three different shapes that make up that top lip. You take that shape and you imagine over here, that middle part is going to come like this. Then you're going to have this piece right here, which is going to be foreshortened, and it's going to kind of round off a little bit. Then you're going to have the last piece that comes out like that to your lip. Now that's the basic idea of the lip shape. And then you're going to have your bottom lip. You'll only be seeing this part right here in the 3/4 view, and this part right here that I'm shading, that part is going to be being foreshortened. So you take that middle line right here where the lip is coming down, and from this half on, it's not foreshortened. From this half over, it's being foreshortened. So it kind of comes out like that, and then comes around like so. And you can even give her mouth a little bit of openness, you know, whatever you want to do. That's the basic shape of the lip. I'll go back and refine that. Once you have the lip, then you know it's got to go, okay, well, how far down until my chin? You have about the same length of your lips down to your chin. So take the length from the top and bottom of the lip, kind of put that down, and now you have the length of your chin. That's how I like to think of it. More of your chin is going to be on this side of the line than on this side of the line when you're in 3/4 view. Another thing to keep in mind. I'm going to kind of round it out just a little bit. And then we're going to come down to a little bit higher than the mouth. Imagine an angle coming up from the middle of the mouth, like that, like an angled line. Come down to that part and then come across like that. That's the basic shape of the jawline. Now you can make the jawline bigger or skinnier. It all depends on the kind of head you're trying to draw. Now I like mine to be a little bit wider, so I'm going to come out here a little bit more and then come around like that. I think that right there is about where I want it, and I want my ear to be more in this area right here. That looks a little better to me. All right, this is going to be all the side plane here. And then sometimes there's a little dip here and it comes like that. You know, and you can change all these shapes here to make different, different kinds of heads by changing the shape of the face. You know, you can make the cheeks wider or less wide. You can come with a straight line, and you can add style to really change how, your face is going to look. You can make it all kind of like that, which makes the person look younger, and so forth. All different kinds of things you can do to make this person look different, but those are the basic principles you want to follow. Now, once you have all this down, how to do the measurement from the 3/4 view, then you can start adding different shapes and things like that, making the person look how you want them to look. So let's say I want to give her, I don't know, different kind of lips. I want to give her these more like pointy lips like this. And I'm going to come down right here and come down like this. So that's the basic shape of her lips. And then next I want to give her a different, maybe a slightly open mouth here. So I'm going to come like this and then like that. So she has a pretty big upper lip, very, very full lips here. I want to give her, like I said, I want to make her mouth a little bit open here, like so. So now I'm going to start the bottom lip like this, since her mouth is open a little bit. Let's go ahead and I'm going to give her a little bit of a shape like that. Her chin. Her jawline, I want to kind of come more like this. Give her a little bit of a jawline. The neck's going to come off right about here. And over here at an angle. And you have the muscle that comes down like that. Now the nose, we can do all different kinds of noses. I'm going to give her a little bit more of a petite nose this time around. Some of that's a little bit of the underplane of the nose. You might see a little bit of the nostril flare on the other side, but most likely not. I'm going to come up like this. I'm going to have that, I'm going to do more of a comic style shape here to the eyes. I'm going to keep this all very thick. Give it a lot of makeup here. I always like to make the character either looking one way or the other. So in 3/4 view, I usually always have them looking away from the part that their head's turning away from. And then you can probably put the light, if you wanted to do light, you can put on this side over here. I usually use an electric eraser. I don't have it with me right now, but normally there'd be like a right there, maybe right here like that. So kind of put those two little highlights in there. So I'm doing very, very thick lashes here, and this, again, very much more of a comic style that I'm doing here. It's my favorite form of drawing. For the longest time, I really enjoyed doing realism and hyperrealism and things like that. And then, I don't know, at some point, I just really liked doing comic work. I found it more stylized. You can just have more fun with it. I'm not going to worry about the highlight this time. Just gonna make this a little bit darker, give her some more makeup. But yeah, I don't know. Once I kind of started like discovering how fun it is to draw from your mind, naturally for me, I actually made that eye a little bit lazy compared to that one. No big deal. I can always redraw it. I still don't like this cheek over here. I'm gonna make it a little bit less. I kind of maybe made that a little too dark. Might be hard to erase now. I'm gonna do it lightly first and see if I like it. Might come a little bit closer like that. There we go. I like the way that looks a little better. Try to erase some of this line down here now. And then you can also use a light table. You can also make one real easy. All you need is a piece of glass, like something like this. You can buy at a hardware store, and then just put it, stack it on top of like two little blocks. You can also buy at a hardware store, and then just put a little light bulb underneath it, and voila, you're good to go. And then that's the poor man's light box. And then you can take this and then trace over it. That way you don't have to worry about trying to redraw the entire thing. So you're like, you know what, I just want to change your eyes a little bit and stuff like that. And so just put another piece of paper over it under the light box. You know, you take this piece of paper off from the glass, put another piece of paper over that, have the light underneath it, and then just trace over it. It's really easy. I'm trying to think what kind of hairstyle she should have this time. I'll have the middle line right about here. I'm going to make her hair just kind of come down like this. Maybe see some of the bottom part of the hair there. It's going to tuck behind her ear. Trying to think. Just trying to think how much detail I want to show in the ear here. That's enough detail, I think. I need more than that. I'm going to just kind of pull off a couple lines like that. Pull a couple lines together here and here. Pull the edge of the hair coming down. The neck, I might have, you know, a couple pieces of hair covering the neck and then coming back over the shoulder, and this will be the shoulder here. This will be the collarbone coming up that way. Oops. Can't go that high with the collarbone. I just dropped my razor too. I can't go that far out with it either. What am I doing? The shoulder would be much wider than anyway. The shoulder would actually come down off the paper. So I had the collarbone in the right place as the shoulder was too not far enough out. Right, so there you have it. Again, I could I could change that eye, but I don't see any point of doing all that right now. But you can also show a couple lines here and then kind of flow. Show the hair flowing down and around. She has just like this kind of straight hair, and it's like you can show it kind of bunching up right here with a couple lines. Just show that it's like kind of hitting the shoulder and then going over the shoulder. And so what you can do is you can kind of pull a couple lines like this, just to kind of show that the hair has gone and folded over the shoulder. It's kind of hard for me to see that because the light's kind of blinding that part of my view. And then from here you kind of pull a couple lines like this, just to show that it's coming across. Maybe you can show a few strands kind of sticking out right there. And if you have the light hitting, let's say this side of her face, then the hair has a dip in it, like it's almost like a ditch like this. Whenever you have light hitting a ditch, even the Philtrum, the light's going to hit this side, and this side's going to be shaded, right? So this side of the Philtrum will be shaded, that side's going to be lit up, this side of the ramp will be shaded in like this. This side of the nose will be all shaded in and so forth. More of this side of the face and this part of the head is going to be what's shaded in. There's going to be a little bit of a shadow right here, so forth. A little bit of shade underneath the mouth here. To have more shadow on the edge of the lip here as well. More shadow on this side of the lip. Then as it comes over here, it'll get lighter. I'll have that little bit of highlight. There'll be a little highlight over there as well. Right, so that's that. And then for the hair, you have that kind of dip in it. So if you imagine this dip coming like that, well, if the light's coming from over here and it's hitting, it's going to be a shadow on this side. So this side right here is all going to be the shadow part of the dip. And the other part of the dip right here is going to be the part that's hit with light. And then you can just kind of pull a couple lines here and there with hair coming off of it. And you can have a little more shading along here like this. This is a very, very quick sketch. I'm not trying to make it like finalized or finished looking, nothing like that. There'd be some bunch of shadow over here. You have a lot darker shadow on this side of the face as well. Women don't have Adam's apple, but they still have a trachea, so. A lot of this right here will all be in shadow and stuff. But again, I'm not trying to do some finished drawing or anything like that, but I just want to add a little bit of shading. Right? Look at this, 2016. Yes, a Happy New Year's, everyone, 2016. I honestly didn't think I'd live to see 2016. I don't know why, I just didn't feel like I would. I think a lot of people feel like that way. They're like they're not going to live a super long time. And then what happens? We end up living a super long time. Or we don't. Anyway, so there you go. Bam. Again, this eye's lazy. Don't worry about that. It's really bugging me though. It's bugging the crap out of me, and I feel like erasing this eye and fixing that. And this is where sometimes, turning your page helps you draw. And remember, I have to remember this whole entire angle right here. So I'm going to take the eye right here, make it lazy. I don't have OCD or anything like that, but sometimes, I don't know. It's like something will just bug me. And I could have done it off video even, but I don't know. I was like, in my head, I'm like, no, they have to see this. It needs to be changed right now. And they have to see the change. I'm going to darken it from the side that it's supposed to be darker from. I have this side right here be a little bit lighter. Okay, so had to do that, sorry. Now she has a lazy eye on both sides of her eye. Now notice because her eyes look a lot bigger than the space between the eyes now, but the eye itself is the same length. And how you can do that, the easy way to measure is just go like this with your pencil, and then hold your thumb right where it's at, and you can go and measure, and you can see that their actual eyes are pretty much all the same length. What makes it look longer is how far out the eyelashes go. And so that's actually a trick you can do to make your eyes look bigger. That is your natural eyes. If you're male or female, I guess it doesn't really matter. What you do is you make your eyelashes really long, or even put false eyelashes on. And then you want to make this part here kind of dark. And then when you get to this part of the eye right here, I don't know if they make white mascara or not, but I know they make something that people use. You want to put white mascara or whatever they make that's similar to that. Make all this right here white, and that whole entire cuticle part, make all that white. And then put white all the way along the inside of your eyelid right here, the part where you normally put mascara on, the part that's hard to put mascara on because it's kind of wet all the time. And so remember, eyes also, when you're drawing them, for females, it's usually not that hard because they spend a lot of time with their eyes, so they already know this, but guys typically don't. And if you imagine you have the shape of your eye here, this would be your upper lid and your lower lid. Now that lower lid, it actually has a shape to it like that. I'm going to exaggerate it. The eyelashes come off of here like this, right? And then there's this thin layer right here, this three-dimensional part that comes, you usually can't see it when you're looking straight on, but if you kind of look down at the eye, it's easy to see that little piece of wet skin. And that right there, sometimes women will try to put makeup on that right there. Not try, but they will. They'll put makeup right on that part of the eye. Just keep in mind that naturally, that part of the eye is very wet, and so you have a distance between where your eyelashes attach and where you have that inner part of your eye right there. And I'm just exaggerating the spacing. The same thing is kind of true of the upper eye, but it's just harder to see because we're looking up like that. But the bottom eye definitely are true. And so all right here, this whole area, if you leave that kind of white right there and then put all this right here, so that little area right there. So from here and then put white along this part of your eye, here to here, and then darken all this right here, and then darken it underneath, and then put a little bit more white extending in, and then darken the under part of your eye, and leaving that other part lighter, and makes your eye look a lot bigger. And there's some, I know there's some, makeup artists out there. They're pretty popular YouTube channels, and they show different ways of painting your eye. And one of the popular ones, I think, is the how to make your eyes look like a Barbie doll or something, or manga or whatever. And that's what they do. They use that technique to do that. All right, so that's that. She has huge lips. I know. I typically tend to draw these just giganto mongo lips, but I like them. They're cool. I like full lips, so I tend to draw big lips all the time. But let's go ahead and see what she looked like if I gave her smaller lips, just for the hell of it. If I can erase it all. Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and grab the other eraser. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. I found it by my foot. All right, let's see if we can, how much of this we can actually erase. I drew it really dark already, so I don't think I'm going to get rid of much of it, but there we go. Right, so we'll come down the same length. Here I'm going to give her kind of these kind of lips now. All right, so now she has a smaller upper lip. Kind of leave the mouth open a little bit. Maybe you can see just a little bit of that of her. Kind of messed that up, but anyway, you can see a little bit of her teeth, and I'll make the bottom lip also not quite as big. And I kind of messed up the mouth there. Whatever. I should have tried to draw the teeth in there. But anyway, so there's all different kinds of lips you can do. And notice how just changing one facial thing makes her whole entire mouth look a little different. And there you go. I just want to hint at the teeth there. And there you have it. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this long tutorial, but there's a lot of information in there that I think is necessary and helps a lot to draw better faces. So yeah, I don't know what she looks like, but she looks kind of cool. And note, remember the back of the first face really quick here. This is typically, I'll go reach over there and grab this. This is typically the kind of face that I like to draw, these more kind of cartoony faces. Notice it has much more exaggerated turns here. To the pointy chin, so it's kind of a mix between like American comic book and manga, so it's kind of like a hybrid of those two. And I typically draw slightly larger eyes. This is more toward realism, more toward just like American comic books, but I like doing both. And after a while you'll kind of develop your own style, and sometimes you'll draw in different styles. But yeah, all right guys, that's it. Maybe I should go ahead and sign this one too, even though it's just a quick sketch, but you never know. In the future, one day someone will find all this crap and maybe I'll become famous after I'm dead or something. And then they'll be like, hey, let's go ahead and grab his artwork and sell it while he's dead. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know, request what you'd like to see next. By the way, this is the quality, pretty much the quality. It's a little bit better probably on my gesture drawing course, but the gesture drawing course is done entirely in pencil. I might have a couple lessons in digital, I'm not sure yet, but so far it's been, I've recorded entirely in pencil. And so this is the quality of video. I try to minimize the Notice that light over there went off just now, but I try to minimize the amount of shadow you see so that it's mostly straight down. So mostly what you see is good. And the sound quality now, I'm using a $700 sound equipment here. I'm using the H4n digital recorder, and then I'm using a Audio-Technica AT875R hooked up through the, I don't know, whatever those that has the 3-prong cables. I forget what they're called, the professional. Anyway, they plug into that thing right there with the 3 prongs, this kind of plug here. And then I have it on 1 and 2. Then I have to set this thing up to basically a mono stereo because I don't have 2 of the things. I can actually plug another. I'm going to get another one eventually, so I have 2 of these microphones to give a true stereo sound. But that's mainly for the our ASMR videos. But yeah, I can also turn this microphone on if I wanted to as well. It's not nearly as good as Audio-Technica, especially when you have it facing down. Right now, like the mic is literally like right here, right by my mouth kind of. And it's not right by my mouth, but it's facing down towards my chest at an angle. Anyway, just thought I'd let you guys know, just in case you're wondering how to get that kind of sound or how I'm getting the sound that I'm getting. That's how I'm doing it. And then make sure it's on. It's close enough and picking up your mouth enough. And then I think I have my thing set to, the volume is set to 50 right now. And so you want to get it to where you're hitting right around that 12 to 6 decimal. If I talk really loud, you don't want it to go past that 6 mark. And that's perfect. And then you can mess with the sound in software. I use just a free software, Audacity. And there's a couple cool little tricks you can do to add a little bit more bass, a little less treble, and then also take out some of the background noise. Although if you listen right now, there's really not that much background noise, and so I can actually remove that completely. What you're going to hear is probably no background noise because I'm going to remove that with the software. And so during those silent parts, like now, it should be completely silent. All right, then that's it, folks. Thanks for watching, and please again check out my books, How to Draw Awesome Figures by Neil Fontaine on Amazon. It's still a bestseller right now in its category of figure drawing. And then also Bending Nature, a new kind of vampire novel. Check it out, really cool. I think the reason why it came out so cool character-wise is me and my girlfriend are like working on it together, and so we can get both the male and the female characters to be real, to feel like male and female characters, since I'm a male and she's a female. And we can bring different aspects of that to the characters. You know, like she's like, hey, wait a minute, it's not natural for a female to think this way or to have that particular thought, or why would she not be thinking about this? You know, this is what a female would actually think about. This is what I would think about, type of thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I can be like, well, that's not what a male would do or think about, you know? And so yeah, it really helps having partners together like that of opposite sexes when you're working on a novel, so that you can get everything right. Yeah, so everyone knows, though, that has known me for a long time, even way before I got with her. You guys remember me doing the Bending Nature years ago. So everyone knows it's pretty much my novel, but it's under my girlfriend's name, and she did help me to perfect it, to get it to where it is. So yeah. All right, guys. I don't know what else to say. So long ass video, right? Bye. And the whole time I wasn't recording? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Right, so you can hear the difference of how good the sound quality sounds when I have the Audio-Technica with the recorder with the H4n versus my phone sound quality. The phone is not nearly as good as a good microphone, and this is the professional sound that you have in my entire course. And the entire course, like I said, I've done in pencil so far, pencil and eraser, just standard. I can show you guys some of the more of the gesture drawings if you want, but I also did a video recently, I think, where I used this microphone just showing quickly some gesture drawings and doing some quick 90-second and 30-second gesture drawings and showing how to do that. If you haven't seen it, I think it's my last video I posted. So, all right, yeah, that's it. I just realized I wasn't recording this whole time with this. So luckily the phone had a microphone on it. Otherwise, I would have to have recorded this entire thing again, which is not something I would want to do. But yeah, so now you can hear what the sound quality will sound like when I'm actually doing my awesome courses now in pencil and paper. I think I'm going to do an entire pencil and paper course as well, teaching how to properly use your pencils and erasers and paper and stuff like that. Now, these right here, none of these actually have like true finishing to them, as far as, you know, like you'd want to come here and erase all that. I think one of the most helpful One of the most helpful tools when using pencil and paper is having a mechanical eraser. It really just helps to come in with the mechanical eraser and erase certain things that you don't want there. Like if you're like, hey, you know what? I really don't want, let me go and finish shading this real quick. You're like, hey, I really don't want that. I want to have the separation between these things. You can just go in there with the eraser and not have to really think so much about where you want the light to be. You can just kind of draw the eyes first and then draw the highlights after with the eraser. I'm not sure if you guys hear my girl from the background. I think she's like, I don't know what she's doing. I think she's singing and making a lot of noise. Something I ask her not to do when I'm recording, but hey, it's all right. Shit happens. Here, she's in there talking to herself. She does that. All right, so anyway, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. Bam! I mean, there you go. That's what was supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to roll and stuff. All right.